What's up, traders? Welcome back. Today is a spicy day again. Don't forget to smash those like buttons for the new stream. Subscribe if you haven't. Jump in the Discord. Check out Patreon. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's a quiet day here in crypto world, apparently. That's okay. I wanted to update you guys here quick. I wanted to go through just Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Sol. That's really all I really want to do today, so hopefully we can do this as a quick stream. So looking at yesterday, the weekly close, not quite where we wanted it. I still argue it's pretty neutral. Welcome to bring me arguments otherwise. But there's more interesting stuff going on here. We are seeing just into this stream, some selling going on, reaching down possibly for that 47,000 level. Hope it finds support there. We zoom out here, take a peek at this weekly again, just to recap. We really only have two values here that are going to be huge players, actually three in this weekly candle. 55.5 above us, trading above there. We have a new high continuing the uptrend, and below 46.3, a lower low versus the week before. Those are the two I'm really going to be having my eyes on. A break in either direction likely going to suggest where the rest of this week is going to go. And sitting dab in the middle, 48.8. The weekly open, this is going to be our pivot point. Trading above puts us back in a green weekly candle. And you know what? I didn't do my homework right. One more, 49.2. Above 49.2, we have a bullish engulfing candle on the weekly. Not a lot of news there. On the monthly, same. 35,000 is monthly support below, 58.8 resistance above. Going into this new monthly is a big deal. It's September. That's going to be the last month of this quarterly. I'm still aiming for 58.8 by the end of September. We'll see what happens. That's right. All right, Bitcoin's chilled out enough, it seems, for us to do the stream and look at other stuff. So we'll come back to that at the end. 3-day cloud. This is really where I'm keeping my eye. Still above the cloud. We've tested it as support. It's held. Things are looking decent. We see that cloud begins to support us at 46.8. 46.8. So Bitcoin not really being that interesting, I'll be honest. So there are coins being interesting. And that's where we're going to look. Ethereum. Ethereum has caught my eye. And I've been watching it all day here. What we've been seeing is a much more bullish pattern than Bitcoin. We're having our lows come up and our highs relatively flat topped. This is a bullish pattern in crypto. Multiple tests of resistance. We're looking at 33.10. Each test weakening that resistance. And with each low, we're seeing buyers come in and not allowing price to drop. This could be related to our NFT mania going on right now. That's just speculation. However, with this test today of 33.10 again, we have increased the odds of breaking to the upside. Our upside target remains the same, sitting at basically 4,000. That would be quite a move. I would speculate even that if we do see a breakout to on Ethereum here, likely the rest of the market is either breaking out with it or following it. It's going to be good news to see. And if Bitcoin looked like this, I think people would be a little less worried. Ethereum really looking strong here in this pattern. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. Let's peek this weekly. Yeah, weekly. Exactly. 33.10. It's our weekly resistance. We're looking to trade above there. You can see this beautiful flagging bullish pattern and really nothing above on the weekly until 4,000. So I think the probability is moving up to that 4,000. Whether it's in this week, I do not know. We only have one more day of this month, but we have what? 6 more days of this weekly. So it's going to be interesting to see the market transition from August to September in the middle of a weekly candle. This happened last month. It's actually the norm for this to happen. But it's always a spicy event when you have these big time frames conflicting on their closes for sure. Solana. This is the one. This is really the reason I even pulled the trigger today to go live. Solana, who's been watching our streams? Solana hitting exactly to our target, literally from yesterday. I was not confident that we would see this in 24 hours at all. We were saying it's heading in that direction. Here we are, $116. And we zoom in almost to the penny. Almost to the penny. 116.12.5 is what we were looking for. 116.33 is what we got. Zoomed in on Solana here on a lower time frame. This is not the most bullish pattern. As you can see, I was talking about Ethereum testing its highs. I would have liked to see Solana do something similar here. We're on the 15-minute, so that pattern can still play out. Reminder, Ethereum is doing this not on the 15-minute, but on the daily. So to see Solana do something like, whoa, there we go, just gave everyone motion sickness. To see Solana do something like this on a higher time frame over the course of maybe the next few days would not be surprising. It is great to see coins moving, and it's great to see them move into our targets, right? Pretty wild. New all-time highs, right? Quite a bear market with these new all-time highs. So where might we look next on Solana? Well, we could see, in my opinion, really two scenarios. Either we've temporarily topped out here, and we're going to look to retrace to support. Now, we could find support at 93.50. However, I don't think that is a super strong support. That was just one day of consolidation. I think there's a lot more logical level below. $78.72. This could provide a really strong entry to those of you feeling some FOMO today. A back test of that level would be extremely healthy, extremely strong, and that could set us up for our further upside targets. Now, I have to warn you guys, as always, when coins are trading at all-time highs, like Solana is today, these are always very risky entries. If you're looking to enter on this green candle, you could be buying the top. I will say, as I said yesterday, this is a high-risk entry right now. That doesn't mean it can't continue to the upside. It just means that the probability is not really in your favor as a trader, and I would definitely be looking elsewhere. With coins breaking out like we're seeing, in general, there's just going to be better entries. So for me, I'm waiting for a back test. I would take 93, but I think that the real entry is going to be at 78, 72 if we get there. In the other scenario, where we continue to the upside and we're just rallying, our measured move sitting above us at $177. We got that by using our Fibonacci retracement tool, taking our highs, connecting it to our lows, and that generated for us today's high at $116. Our measured move, which is the 2 extension, at 177. So that's the next logical target to aim for if we see further upside. There is no trading at this level on our chart history, and so we don't have any way to really figure out or pinpoint price targets. So the best thing we can do, instead of guessing, is to use our Fibonacci extension tool. Highly recommend. If you haven't used it, play around with it. You're going to find your mind will be blown very quickly here. There's some black magic, or who knows, with that extension tool. It is some wild stuff. I'm going to look at our indicators on Solana. We do have bearish divergence. That is with the caveat of if we don't continue running. If we continue running up to that 177 mark, we see the daily RSI pulled up higher than back in August 20th. We can eliminate that bearish divergence. Something that's definitely making me more confident on the bull side here is the RSI pullback. Pulled back right to where overbought starts and bounced. That can be an extremely powerful setup, and it's performing beautifully. Loving it. Loving it. MACD momentum isn't showing any signs of waning. However, it does have that same threat of bearish divergence in the future. We're not there. At this moment, momentum is only gaining. Market Cipher showing us that actually, Market Cipher's, this is a pretty interesting signal here. So Market Cipher's money flow on the daily trending up pretty smoothly. We see it reapproaching only a few days ago's high. I don't even know how to word that. As it comes back up, it hasn't quite eclipsed it yet. If we see money flow put in a higher high, 177 might be too conservative for Solana's next target. This is going to be very interesting. This is a very interesting setup. Whenever one coin's moving like this and the rest of the market's chilling, it is always worth looking at. Doesn't always mean it is the right trade. those are the three I wanted to go over. ADA, actually ADA and Bitcoin pair. So we looked at this yesterday as well. I saw some tweet midstream and decided to take a peek. ADA battling with its Bitcoin valuation high weekly resistance at 6,000 sats. This is wild to me. This is wild. For years it was years. ADA just sold off from a 2018-2017 all-time high. Sold off so slowly and brutally, settled down near 500 sats, now trading at 6,000. That means that not only has it outgained Bitcoin, but it's outgained Bitcoin by more than 10x. That's right. 10x. Let that sink in. Wild stuff. Using that same Fibonacci retracement tool, retracement and extension, we can see our measured move is sitting at 7,300. That's the 2 extension right here, 7,300 sats, and our 2618. We don't really use this one a lot. Typically, when we see this on large time frames, it does lead to a blow off top. So I would like to see ADA in Bitcoin valuation, so ADA BTC. I would like to see it either chill out here sideways for a while, potentially move back test 5,200 sats before making that climb to that measure move at 7,300. That would be a lot more healthy in my opinion. I think if we do see it just take off and reach for that all-time high to that 2618 extension, that's likely a blow off top, and we're likely going to see a pretty severe correction after that. It doesn't necessarily spell the end of the bullishness for ADA, as you can kind of imagine this broadening wedge here would play out pretty well. But I think it would be healthier, and I think price would be a lot more comfortable for people if it chilled out, traded sideways, can back test, doesn't have to. I know that it also is looking pretty spicy in the dollar pair as well, so we're gonna actually peek that quick. In the dollar pair, looking, I think, a lot like Ethereum, if my memory serves me here. Not quite as beautiful in my opinion, though it did move to a new all-time high and back tested that high as support, and then retested the high. Hasn't quite set a new high here at 297, but we're seeing essentially what I was saying I'd like to see on Solana, or what I'd like to see on its Bitcoin pair. It's moved to this new high, it's pulled back, and now it's just consolidating under that resistance. The longer it stays there, the longer it chills sideways, the weaker that resistance becomes. But more importantly, well, maybe not more importantly, equally importantly, is it's allowing our oscillators, our indicators, the things we use to get edges in the trading market, to reset, to cool down, to readjust to the momentum ADA has been seeing. That's very healthy. That is absolutely what you want to see. That was maybe one of my main arguments, that we didn't see a bull market top yet in Bitcoin, because we had essentially just this consolidation. The resistance was pushed up bit by bit and eventually sold off, as you all remember. But it didn't get just meteor smashed, as I like to say. That's typical of an all-time high. This consolidation is more typical of something looking to break to the upside. And so ADA, where would we look? Using that same method. Really, guys, if you're going to learn one thing today on the stream, just one thing a day, make you a master trader eventually, the Fibonacci tool. When you are trading at all-time highs, think about it logically. What tools can you use? Typically, we'll use supports and resistances, horizontal lines. We can't use that an all-time high. Why? Because we don't have any history there. There are no supports. There are no resistances. As soon as ADA trades over 297, that's it. It's just off in nowhere land, no man's land. The Fibonacci extension tool gives you a really great way to pick out from what would be infinite choices, because we could say 291.6, 291.7, 291.8, etc. We can do that forever. There's so many options. The Fibonacci extension tool isn't perfect, but it does allow us to narrow down from infinite choices to a select few. And historic mathematically, that's really all you need to know, is when you have no guide, the Fibonacci tool is your best friend. Highly recommend looking into that. At the beginning of the episode, we talked about our weekly levels that would be important in this week. Those are really kind of gonna be it, outside of the same one we've been touting, and that's 42.2. 42.2. This is where we need to defend. I can see with almost no issue price trading down to 42.2. It seems highly probable. Breaking 42.2 is where it gets ugly. I do not want to see any dailies, any weeklies, anything, any significant time frames close below here, as that would essentially put us back underneath these trends that we finally have retaken beginning of the month. Don't want to see that. That would be very below us. Is that the quarterly TK and KJ? These are the two lines created by Ichimoku Cloud, acting as support, and price is still above them. What this translates to is Bitcoin's trend has not been lost. It's still in the same trend on the quarterly time frame. For me, that suggests retesting quarterly resistance and very likely looking for a new high either in Q4 of 2021 or possibly Q1 of 2022. I'm going to owe people a bunch of beers, though, if it's 2022. If you look back at the history, there's not a lot of it for the quarterly. You'll see that this is not a scenario we've ever had before. We have never had quarterly support at these two levels, at the TK and KJ. Very exciting. Very exciting, but we're going to have to see the quarter. Still interesting. Monthly, suggesting 41.4 is a level we don't want to lose. That's very close to our 42.2. That is the green line, the TK here. And the last resort, 34.3. As long as we are above this green line, it can sometimes be this simple. As long as we're on top of this green line, we're moving up. Really, that's what it's telling us. So to see that on a month, on a 3-month time frame, is pretty great. You can see on the weekly, we were speculating this last week. The KJ, so uncommon in an uptrend for the KJ to be above the TK, the purple above the green. Uncommon. However, this weekly and last week traded below it briefly before finding buyers. As long as we can hold this level, same thing. We'll see that. We'll see not only on the quarterly and monthly that we're in an uptrend, but on the weekly as well. And what we have the potential for here, what we have is if we either stay sideways long enough or try to push new highs, as long as we don't fall below this green line, what we will get on the weekly is the TK will move up, the KJ will still remain sideways for a brief amount of time, and we will get a cross above the clouds. We talked about this last stream because it's very exciting, very spicy. That is not the arrow. There we go. This is what we're looking for on the weekly. There we go. A cross up. If you go into your Ichimoku Cloud Indicator, you hit the little gear, you go to inputs, you can enable show crosses, and it should generate them for you automatically. And what we looked at last stream is this does not happen often. This does not happen often. The last time this actually did happen, meaning we saw the cross we're looking for potentially here, if we can remain above 46.6, was in 2016. 2016. Right here, October. Funny, October. We're moving into September. October 2016, exactly 5 years ago in October, we got this cross. Price was at $617. $617. From that cross, we saw price rally 3,200%. Now, I'm a perma bull, of course. I'm a moon boy, whatever. I'm not going to suggest 3,025% from here. That would be wild. I think that'd place us at 1.5 million, something like that. But even if we see a fraction, of that, with the same signal, say only 500, that's 1/7. That puts us in the 300,000 range. Back to the targets I have not shut up about since 2018. 2018. Looking for 300K. Still am. It does seem that it would be a hard sell for this year to make it there. It's not impossible. Bitcoin has done crazier things. But man, that cross up on the weekly is what I'm looking for. Absolutely. The cloud hasn't even been touched on the weekly. We haven't even looked at that. We haven't even looked at the support. You can see back in 2018, traded sideways through it, and that was game. We aren't really in danger of that without a significant sell-off. You can see in July, there was potential there to trade sideways through the support of the cloud and fall down. Didn't happen. The timing of the rally in July was literally perfect for this chart. I was also just trying to stall to see if I could get that from Steve, but not going to find it. I don't know how. Did you delete it? If you're here, Steve, did you delete it? I know it was on BLX, so I think it was a longer time frame. Steve here. Bueller. Nah, it's a quiet stream. Everyone's so bearish. Good. Keep them bearish. Any pattern like we saw at the close yesterday. This was ugly. Let's look at what we were looking at then. We were looking at this in the close of the weekly. That's what you get. That's what you get when you have these patterns. You don't want flat bottoms and descending highs. That's not what you want. These break down so consistently. Of course, the reverse is true. Flat top, just like on Ethereum, what we're hoping to see in Sol. Very bullish. Tend to break to the upside. Fibonacci extension tool actually nailed this bottom. Fingers crossed that it holds here. Check this out. R2, our measured move, sitting right behind me. I don't know if you can see it. Measured move from our low to our high suggested 47,500. We traded $100 below it. So I'd like to, if we break lower, this pattern would suggest we're looking for 46.6, a level that we talked about here earlier. You probably forgot the 3-day cloud. The 3-day cloud is right there, begging to act as support, and below us the measure move 46.1. This is where I would look if we do see 47.4 broken. A move to the downside. I know, ugly.